As South Africa gears for the 2024 general elections, a new exhibition entitled Great Expectations takes a moment to reflect on dreams and hopes held for a free and equal country almost 3 decades ago. The exhibition explores the identity, the society, the built environment and the spirit of the times in the context of the country's 30-year journey towards democracy. This work, which is currently showing at the Javett Art Centre, is curated by Nonto Msomi, and she joins us now virtually to share more. Nonto, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, and thank you for the warm welcome.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, the Great Expectation, Nonto, share more on the title and how this fits with the theme which explores the times in South Africa.
Well, the exhibition title, which is Great Expectation, I found it to be an apt title because the artworks that are selected for the show are reflecting on the stories that are coming from society through the eyes and hands of artists. So artists are talking about their existence in South Africa, their in their physical spaces, personal spaces, and landscape, which is something very interesting to us because we're getting these diverse stories of existence across South Africa, which some reflect over the past three decades, but some are very much about the now and what's happening in society now.
And having said that, is the work reflective of the 30 years of democracy?
So a lot of the artists in the collection are very young. So they're young, but also emerging artists. So a lot of their work is about the culmination of the 30 years to how they are experiencing life now. So some of the artists have been working since the 80s, creating work, such as the artist Nonto Msomi, who's in the Free State. But then there's Talente Kome, who's in KZN, who's really, really young. She's still in her 20s, who's then looking at the existence of being a young woman in South Africa. So we have works that span different identities, different experiences. Myself, I've just reached out of the category of youth. So we have different ways that we look at the idea of freedom in South Africa.
Who are some of these artists?
Yeah, so some of the artists we have, as I mentioned, Nonto Msomi, who's in the Free State. In the exhibition, we have Temba Kumalo. He's in Gauteng. We have also artists from Limpopo in the show. So we've tried to have as many artists that are represented in our collection coming from the different provinces.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we try to have, a well-represented collection that shows us contemporary art in South Africa.
Now, take us through, the types and the kinds of conversations you wanted to achieve through this project.
Yes, so this exhibition is actually a continuation of a conversation we've been having within the Art Bank through our curatorial themes. It actually started with the earliest exhibitions we did after the lockdown, notably the one titled Between Meaning and Reality. Yeah. And the idea is to explore the thought of making meaning out of one's life, regardless of, how terrifying situations may seem, how nihilistic people's outlook may be, but with the hope of conveying the idea that you can still find hope, you can still find joy, you can still find beauty, regardless of the strange times you may be living in.
So just having a look at some of the works, do you think that what we've just said is reflected in some of the paintings or in some of the artworks?
Yes. So, as I said, beautiful, interesting work that is on show. I'm reminded of a work by an artist from KZN who is who's looking at the beauty of being a woman in Africa. So his work is really, really showing the beauty of particularly Black women, and the way he's just portrayed her is inspirational, is almost awe-inducing. That is an artist, Linanim Kize, who's in KZN. So his work doesn't have the sadness or the heaviness of now, but rather it's almost reverential of the beauty of a Black woman. But then we have also other works that talk to the inspiration or the positive outlook of looking forward, such as there's also work from Lindani Zindela, so Luyanda Zindela, who's in Cape Town, who's talking about how young people can also have their voices come through in the political sphere. So we have works in there that talk about how changes could be made with including more people, with helping build together for a brighter future. But it's also amongst works that are more reflective about the challenges that exist, such as infrastructure challenges or the recognition of First Nations people.
Right, right. Do you want to share more on the Art Bank of South Africa? What's that about? I mean, what's their mandate?
So the Art Bank of South Africa is a very interesting project or program of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Funny enough, it was in the white paper on culture and heritage from 1996, but it was actually launched in 2017. The program has a mandate to acquire artworks directly from artists, particularly emerging artists, with the intention to lease these artworks to government departments, private companies, organizations, and individuals. Around the world, there are other art banks, the oldest being in Australia and Canada. But with the Art Bank in South Africa, we find that we're quite dynamic in the kind of works that we do, that we collect. And we've been able to have the privilege of being the first institution to buy some of these artists who are very early in their careers, who are now going on to do amazing things across the world. I see in the show we have a work by Morgan Mahape, who we were one of the first institutions to buy his work, and now he's currently at the 154 fair in London, which has been quite exciting for us to see how supporting emerging artists helps them develop their careers, and then they can show out in international stages. So we have a diverse mandate, which is obviously to lease the artworks and make sure that South Africans have access to amazing contemporary South African visual art, but also on the other hand to help support emerging and young artists so that they can build their careers and be able to have access to greater platforms for their work.
Well articulated, Nonto. Thank you so much for opening our eyes to this project and what it really seeks to do and achieve. A great chatting to you this morning.
Thank you, Sylvia.